Hello, folks. So today we're going to look at former vegan vegetarian Lierre Keith, and the story in a nutshell with her is that she was a vegan vegetarian for 20 years. She really claimed vegan, supposedly, but then she admitted she cheated all the time on dairy products and eggs. But nevertheless, she claimed vegan for 20 years, and that essentially, in a nutshell, her story, her idea is that veganism was a well-intentioned type of endeavor, but it's rooted in ignorance and in the end nets terrible results for your health, because you will be deficient in countless things and it will wreck your health. So for example, I'll play a little clip for people to watch, just very short.
And, there's a whole generation of us now who have been through this. I mean, we tried it, it didn't work, our health collapsed, and then we had to find something new.
Okay, so that's sort of the sentiment, is she tried it, the intentions were great, and her health collapsed being a vegan because she was deficient in so many ways. Now, this is what I want to argue, because it is a ridiculous idea. Why? Because nowadays, veganism is not a hippie movement, for crying out loud. Veganism is very well researched, and we have solid science and testimonies and amazing results. For example, what do you think the doctors like Dr. Ornish, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. McDougall, Dr. Neil Barnard, and Dr. Furman, what do you think these people are doing? They're getting results. People's health is improving. They're reversing all kinds of diseases. And these doctors, everything is monitored. They get blood tests. It's monitored closely. They're encouraged to get blood tests. They're encouraged to go to doctors and monitor everything. So this is not hippie. This is not a hippie movement nowadays. We know that it works, eating plant-based, and these are people that formerly were eating meat, and once they pull the meat out, results improve with the health. And we can then go to athletes, elite athletes, even Olympic athletes, people that were meat eaters switched to veganism, and what? Their performance improved. And these are people that can't gamble with their health. Many of them don't even necessarily do it for ethical reasons. They just experimented and found out that being plant-based vegan improved their health. For example, an interesting case is here's Timothy Bradley, and he's the man that fought Manny Pacquiao recently, maybe about 5-6 months ago. And he actually says he trains as a vegan. He goes out, he's not a vegan, but he actually trains. When he trains, he becomes a vegan because he says his performance improves. Okay, this is a man that was fighting for the title as a boxer, who's not even a vegan. 24/7 all year round, and he actually switches to veganism because he says his performance improves. And we have many vegan athletes that are even Olympic gold medalists. There's a whole website, Great Vegan Athletes. Okay, and there's page after page. Like we got Mike Danzig that comes up a lot, Carl Lewis, voted World Athlete of the Decade of the 80s, Olympic Athlete of the Centuries of the 1900s. We got Rich Roll, and there's many pages on here of vegan athletes. And, again, these are people that are elite athletes, and they were eating meat and switched to veganism, and these people, their careers depend on peak performance. They don't have time to screw around and eat a crappy diet. Okay, their careers depend, their livelihood depends on peak performance. And these countless people have switched to veganism because their performance increased, and it keeps growing more and more. The reason why you don't see more is that, veganism was for hippies, and now, to a very large degree, and now it's becoming more and more of a science. This gentleman we're looking at here, his name is Brendan Brazier, and he is also an elite athlete, a triathlete, and he actually does consultations with people, and he's done tons of experiments. He's written books, and he's proven that you can improve performance. And he's very thorough, gets blood tests, constantly is examining what works and what doesn't work, and he's turned it into a science. Okay, again, not some sort of new age hippie. And another thing is, if the health is destroyed by being a vegan and eating plant-based, okay, do you know who the healthiest people in America are? It's the people in Loma Linda, California. And these people are Seventh-day Adventists, and they're passionate about being vegetarians or vegans. Some of them are vegetarians, some of them are vegans, but nevertheless, because Lierre Keith, her book is called The Vegetarian Myth, so she's even not a fan of being a vegetarian. And guess what? They're the healthiest people in the United States. The residents of Loma Linda that are vegetarians, okay? And the last thing then is, why are vegans, some of them suffer ill health? Why does some of them get poor results? Why does some of them, why does their health decline? Why? Because many people are doing it wrong, okay? It is a science, and it takes, it's not particularly extremely complicated, but it does take a little research. It takes some studies. It takes a little looking into, because a lot of people are vegans and they live on soy and pasta and white bread. Okay, that's not the right way to do it. You need to look into it, learn a little bit about, getting in enough greens and green vegetables, yellow vegetables, getting in, say, good starches, like whole plant starches like squash and yams and sweet potatoes and things like that. Okay, and getting, the whole gamut of vitamins and minerals. And it's not really that hard. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. But that's the message I want people to walk away from, okay? Walk away with, is that there's so much evidence showing that people are getting, they're thriving with health, people with getting great results from switching to plant-based with all these doctors I mentioned, like Ornish, Esselstyn, McDougall, Barnard, and these athletes that are thriving. So best of luck. Cheers.